Hey horror fans, once again it's the Horror Miser Monty G. As I continuing my Paranormal Activity series, I am now going to do Paranormal Activity 3. Yes! I must say I've been enjoying myself watching these movies. They're a pretty good series, believe it or not. And I actually rewatched 3 a couple of nights ago because I wanted to make sure there's a couple things did I miss because it's been a while since I saw it, and I wanted to make sure that I had a fresh viewing of it. And I'll probably do the same thing for 4. I'll probably rewatch 4 tonight so I can have that, or sometime throughout the week, so I can have a fresh idea about what I saw and keep that imagery fresh. So I have a more thorough, give a more thorough review as opposed to just trying to remember because it's been a while since I saw these two. But I really enjoyed this series. Now, some interesting fun facts I have learned, especially with this particular version of the series. One of the things I found out that people who have seen the trailer, most of those scenes were not in the actual movie itself. That angered a lot of fans because they were expecting to see that in the movies. Because hey, if you see it in the trailer, it's actually supposed to be in the movie. Well, unfortunately, it's not. So it pissed off a lot of fans. Basically, what happened was there was a lot of unused footage that the producers had, and they didn't. And most of that stuff they didn't use in the movie, so they decided to use it for TV spots and theatrical trailers. So that's why those scenes are not in the movie itself because they've had so much extra film that they didn't need to have as far as when they finally finished production and edited all the scenes out. So they decided to use those in the trailer. And which I don't like. If you're not going to use those scenes, and I understand that, but it's going to piss your audience off if you're going to have in the trailer and that's not part of the movie. Not a good idea, guys. Another interesting fact about this particular version, Paranormal Activity 3 is the highest grossing film in the series, capped off at 207 million worldwide. So it is one of the high. It became the highest grossing film in the series. Another interesting fact about this film: the little girl that plays Katie, I believe, yeah, Christy. She actually plays Christy. My fault. Jessica Taylor Brown. In one scene where she actually pulls her loose tooth, that tooth was actually loose, and one of the directors, Ariel Schumann, decided that hey, we're going to film it. So they actually decided to film the loose tooth. Now, another interesting fact that in all the films in the series, Paramount hired a very famous paranormal investigator researcher named Christopher Chalkant. I think I'm pronouncing his name right. He is the foremost leader in paranormal investigation, and he was hired on as a consultant for all these films. All these films. Now, he's also is a director and a writer in Hollywood too, but he's also known for being the most foremost leading authority in paranormal investigation. If you want to know anything about the paranormal, look this guy up. Another fun fact about this picture is that the demonic entity known as Toby was named after Christopher Landon's dog. His dog was named Toby, so they decided to name the demonic entity Toby as well. I thought that was funny. Enough about all the facts that I've learned about this particular part of the series. Let's get on with the review. Now, Paranormal Activity 3 is a 2011 American found-footage supernatural horror film that was directed by Henry Yaus and Ariel Schumann. It is the third, although chronologically the first installment, third installment, but chronologically the first part of the Paranormal Activity series. It serves as a prequel, and it shows the beginnings of Christy and Katie's nightmarish uh, disturbances, and we hear the first mention of the demonic entity known as Toby. This was released back in October of 2011, and like I said, it was the highest grossing film out of the series. It was then, right after now, we found out every October when we're going to get another Paranormal Activity film, because at this time right now, it seemed like it was being released every time in October. But yeah, let's get on with the review. Now, we open the scene where we see Sprague Garden. I think her name's pronounced as Sprague. Sprague Garden as Christy She's pregnant with Hunter, and they're painting his room. And we see her husband Daniel painting the room, and we see them getting his room together. And then here comes Katie. Her sister comes in, and she brings a whole bunch of tapes about when they were little kids. Interesting. Later on, we get to see the burglary that took place in the second film, and all the tapes are gone. Now, obviously, this supposedly had occurred prior to the events we saw in the second film, and then we automatically shift to 1988, where we see Katie and Christy as little girls. We see their mother Julie and her then boyfriend Dennis. He is a wedding photographer, videographer, or cinematographer. He videotapes weddings. Hence all the cameras that we see all throughout the house. That's one of the reasons why we have the found footage. Dennis and Julie eventually get married. We see their wedding, and of course he does it. And eventually, doesn't take long before the disturbances start to take effect in the house. Matter of fact, we actually start with an earthquake, of all things. Then, of course, we hear the first mention of the word Toby. As Christy says, she has an imaginary friend named Toby. Doesn't take long before the disturbances get very, very violent. And obviously, this demonic entity, Toby, has ulterior motives for the little girls. And we see that predicted. We see that play out throughout the footage that we see in the movie. That's basically what the premise of this movie is about. Well, as I stated before, you'll have to come up with you have to come up with excuses as to why a person would take a camera and film everything and document everything on film. That's one of the problems you have with found footage movies. But in this one, we actually have a very easy excuse because that's his profession. His profession is to record everything because he's a cinematographer. He does weddings, and that's what Dennis does, and that's why we have all the cameras around. So we have a very easy premise as to why he's doing it. And also, this film shows the what started between Katie and Christy and why they were, and what happened during their childhood. Because as we see in the first two films, especially with Katie, she says that this is something that's been going on throughout their lives. Christy doesn't really have any memories about it when she was little about it, and this film explores this this entity that started early in their childhood days. Now, in this particular film, the scares are more intense, as Toby's not taking any shit from anybody, and they actually do attempt to do a couple of jump scares, which he really did in any of the first two films. Which I thought was pretty interesting that they would go there about, because this film is not known for its jump scares, but they do put jump scares in this film. And like I said, and Toby ups the ante when he doesn't get his way, because obviously he has ulterior motives for the girls. And when he doesn't get what he wants, he really ups the ante in the physical attacks, to one point where he's actually pulling Katie's hair up. He's literally scares the crap out of Julie one time, and even makes a fright of the babysitter one time. He really goes about his way about making life terrible for this family. Now, as far as the camera tricks are concerned, one of the interesting camera tricks is that Dennis and his partner Randy decide to mount a camera on an oscillating fan. So the film goes back and forth, and you can see the camera go from this way and go to that way, and it pans right to left and left to right, and that gives very effective scares throughout the movie. And I thought it was an interesting concept to do it that way. So I thought that was a nice way to film the scares. Now, this film basically works mainly because of the two actresses that play Katie and Christy. That would be Chloe Krasinski. I know I screwed that one up. She plays the young Katie, and Jessica Tyler Brown, who plays the young Christy. Now, obviously, Christy is the one that gets most of the screen time, because she's the youngest out of them, and it seems like Toby is fixated on her. And they really do a good job. They're on screen enough where they're not annoying, but they're on long enough so that way they actually push the narrative further. Because like I said before, obviously Toby has ulterior motives with these two girls, especially with Christy. And of course, what we know about the film series so far, especially in the second film. But obviously, I really enjoyed the two actresses. I thought the young kids did a pretty good job as young Christy and Katie. I also like Chris Smith, who plays Dennis. I thought he was a pretty good guy. Obviously, he cares a lot for the two girls, and when things start to hit the shit, when the shit hits the fan, he really goes about his way to investigate what's happening to his family. He sets up the cameras in the rooms, making sure that they're fine, especially in the girls' room, because he wants to know what's happening to his family. So you got to give him credit. Lauren Britton, she's okay as Julie, but I thought she was a bit naive at times. I guess that's why he read her role. Even when things are sitting right in front of her face, she refuses to acknowledge that there's something deadly going on. She thinks it's just a girl's imagination. So I really enjoyed this film. It had some nice jump scares, which I thought was pretty good. The little girls were pretty interesting. I like how the film kept pace. It didn't slow down. Obviously, this is a little different than the first two films, but obviously they really wanted to make sure that this prequel really served uh, uh, a good explanation of what happened to Christy and Katie when they were young. So I really give them credit for coming up with this film. So the Horror Miser is going to open up his vault, and I'm going to give Paranormal Activity 3 out of my 5 gold coins. Yes, I'm going to give Paranormal Activity 3 out of my 5 gold coins. I really like this film. So, my horror fans, for those who have seen Paranormal Activity 3, do you think this was the best of the series? Do you think it actually answered some of the questions we wanted to know about young Christy and Katie when they were young, or did this film just didn't do it for you? Leave your comments down in your comment section below and tell me what you thought about Paranormal Activity 3. So, horror fans, that's my video for today. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up, because it does help the channel out a lot. And as usual, if this is your first time here, please hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell. That way you can come and join the horror experience with me, the Horror Miser Monty G. And as always, all my social media links will be down in the description box below as well. Once again, my name is Lamont Smith, better known as the Horror Miser Monty G. And always remember, horror rules. Ha ha ha.